Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Are you really doing season 4 of that stupid podcast?
Y'all know the name of the show. It's Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. And what do guys do when they talk sports at the bar? They drink beer. So if you want to buy us a beer, you can Venmo us. The Venmo is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thanks for tuning in to another week of Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Neighborhood friends who get together weekly at the neighborhood watering hole, which is MJ's Bar and Grill in Columbia, South Carolina, with some brews and a microphone and even some bourbon. Stay tuned as we discuss the big games of Week 8, which are going to include the Penn State versus Ohio State game. You got the Tennessee and Alabama game, South Carolina, Mizzou, Duke, FSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, and Utah versus USC. 4 of those are top 25 matchups each team, and then 2 of those are teams that I think may be able to pull an upset this week. Feel free to share the show with your friends, subscribe, and give us positive reviews on your favorite podcast app. We have a Facebook group as well. It's called Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Go ahead and join there. Always love having people support the show, support our drinking habit, and if you want to send us some cash, you can do that through Venmo and buy us a beer. Our handle is at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo. We got Deb Grebe and Michael Grebe who bought us a round of drinks this week, so drinks are on them tonight. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now let's do some introductions. Chopper, you know that every table will have a save a seat for you, right?
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Hanger? Or what are you drinking, Chopper?
Yeah, Corona Light tonight.
All right.
Lime.
Excellent. And we have the argumentative, antithetical Dream Girl Cheeks over here. What are you drinking, Cheeks?
That was quite the lead-in.
I know.
Boy's been reading a dictionary.
Yeah, no kidding. Spends a lot of time on the toilet. So,
Oh, wow.
Say all those words.
What are you drinking, Cheeks?
Just put his feet on it so they don't dangle.
Banana bread beer.
You got your banana bread beer, all right? You know what? It's nice to have a friend who is just the most consistent guy I know, always drinks the same thing every week, and that is my man, the Rebel. What are you drinking, Rebel?
You tell me what I'm drinking.
Yeah, you got some Makers and a Diet. Not
As always.
too bad.
As always.
And I don't know how it gets better than this, than to have the Chief here sipping some clear. What kind of clear is that?
Please tell me ever
Chief.
clear.
Yeah.
I'm drinking 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, and some of it's frozen.
Nice. Now, this life is sweeter than fiction. That's your boy Hanger right here. And I am drinking an all-day IPA. Boom. What do y'all think about that intro?
Love
great
it.
intro.
Feel like all of you has changed like midnight rain.
I know, it's insane, right? It really is. We have the argumentative, antithetical Dream Girl here, Cheeks, you know? I mean, I went all out for that one. Once upon a time, the planets and the fates and all the stars aligned. What do you think about that one, right? All right. Well, they've aligned to make us here, right here in this moment at MJ's Bar and Grill.
Wait a minute, is this a poetry podcast or Guys at the Bar Talking
This is
Sports?
my attempt to troll y'all bastards.
I don't know what the hell this has turned into.
And I hope it worked. I don't know. Anyway, on to the show. Words of I can't even go. Words of the day, all right? All right. This is y'all's chance to talk about last week's games. And the words of the day, we're going to describe one of those as unexpected. And I need to know, Cheeks, which game was unexpected for you?
I think we all know. That would be USC, the drubbing they took from Notre Dame. That was not expected for me. I thought it was going to be a lot closer.
48-20. I don't think anyone really expected that.
No.
I expected there to be a much higher score than that, at least on USC's side. 48, 45. either way.
Yeah.
What did you think about that, Rebel?
It
Was
turned
that
out
a-
exactly how I thought it would, because I told you USC is not that good.
Well, now we know.
And no swat at you. They don't know how to play defense.
No,
and the thing is, you're starting to hear, the problem with skeptics and fans that are not true fans, such as my friend across the table who are with him thick and thin, there are already people starting to question Lincoln Riley, going, if each had just an average defense, they would contend for a national championship. That everywhere he's been, he has not put any emphasis on the defense. I'm just going to outscore you, and you're starting to see you can't do that every week.
So that, and I think the game's changed a little bit, especially when you're playing in a different type of football environment now, where defenses are starting to become a priority more.
Well, if you can look at it, whether it be any type of football, whether it be college football, NFL, high school, doesn't matter. Is the offenses are more innovative. They get ahead of the defenses, but over time the defenses catch up, and then the offenses have to go back and recreate themselves. And that's what you're seeing is these spreads rule the roost. They tried to level the playing field with some rule changes, and now you're starting to see defensive catch up. So you got to have a defense to play with these guys.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're thinking unexpected, what game was unexpected for you then? Since you expected this USC.
This one's very melodramatic, but just when you look at the score, Vanderbilt has not scored a touchdown against Georgia in 5 years.
Okay,
A
yeah.
17-point loss. Look, you don't have more victories. That's respectable for Vanderbilt. I mean,
That's almost a win.
Did Georgia call off the dogs? Were they overlooking Vanderbilt? Was this their Super? I don't know. You can get whatever storyline
They
you
weren't
want.
overlooking Vanderbilt because they're off this week, so that's all they had to look forward to.
So my unexpected was Vanderbilt gave them a better game than anticipated. I think the spread on that game was 40 points or something like that. So
okay.
Good for the Commodores. Let's try to hang their hat on something.
Chief, did you have an unexpected game? I'll let you shoot into this one as well.
How about Arizona, Washington State? Number 19, Washington State, clear favorite at home. Arizona just
walloped them, right?
Walloped them. Yeah.
Didn't Washington State only put up 7 points or something? I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah, it was
really bad. Yeah, really unexpected for sure. So, Chopper.
Yeah.
When you think, hold on, we're gonna go to a different word of the day.
Okay.
And it's gonna be damn.
Damn those Florida Gators.
Damn those Florida Gators.
Right?
Why do you have to say that?
Yeah, I mean, what a comeback, right?
Well, it was only
a little-
10 points.
I know,
with 9
but
minutes
still,
left.
what a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch that whole game. I can tell
I
you.
I know. It's tough for everybody but you.
I was happy. I was the only person happy at the tailgate afterwards, I think.
That's right.
And me and Amy and my kids, for
I was
sure.
gonna say there was 4 of you dressed really funny.
We were dressed funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nice. He's putting together a nice team right now. They're doing good things. I saw they play more freshmen than any other team in the entire. I think in all of college football, right?
Yeah. Florida should be good
Power
next.
5 for sure.
Yeah.
Florida should be pretty good next year.
Yeah.
And the year after that, based upon the
So
age of the
it goes back to
talent.
what I said. Fans and administrations are fickle. You guys have heard me say I'm a Billy Napier fan. If they give him time, he will field a good team. Are they going to give him the time to do it? We'll have to wait and see.
All depends on what Florida State does, in my opinion.
And there's some truth to that for sure.
I will hope and pray. All right, Chief. Damn, brother. Damn.
All right.
Damn.
So
Damn.
we got this is a
is
little
an
bit of
easy
a
one.
math equation, but Pitt upsets Louisville, who beat Notre Dame, who beat USC. Does that mean Pitt could beat USC?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting
Logic,
play,
man.
wasn't
That's
it?
logic.
Yeah.
Logic.
Okay. Damn.
Logic
Well,
rules.
Not gonna
Damn,
happen.
Rebel.
Well, no, I had the same game. It's like you come into this game, you make a coaching change this year, you're on nobody's radar. I think you were picked to finish in the bottom quarter of the ACC. You come into this game, you're 6-0, coming off a big upset of Notre Dame, and you just crap the bed against a haphazard Pittsburgh team. So, I mean, it's the definition of a letdown game after a big win, if there ever was one.
Especially all the props they got on College Game Day. Louisville, they're here, they're ready to play,
Yep.
and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, they lose the pit.
Indeed.
Brock Bowers is my damn. I feel so bad for that guy. Such talent, and then he hurts his freaking ankle, having surgery out for 4 to 6 weeks. That puts that time frame into the end of November, he might not even get to play that Georgia Tech game at the end of the season. That's sad to go out like
I
that,
read
man.
today they have him slated, that his timetable has him back for the Tennessee game.
Well, at least it's not for the Florida game. I mean, give us something, you know.
Don't sugarcoat it.
And I never root for anybody's injury, you know. But in that particular circumstance, it works out in Florida's favor. Yeah. You know. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I felt really bad for the guy. That's my damn. But you know, some of us had "I told you so"s all over the place.
Wait, go back to damn.
Well, I'm going to let you do your damn then. Go.
The biggest
Jeez.
damn I can think of is Colorado going into halftime 29-0, and then losing.
Damn.
That is a damn.
Sometimes when you're selling merch during halftime,
Oh.
and I wonder how many people
Yeah.
on that team are selling merch during halftime. I'm trying to figure out what happens when you come off the field and you get to the locker room and you're all happy, 29-0, and then you go to your phone and you start selling merch. What's going on in your mind? What's going on in the coach's mind?
All I can tell you is this:
Lack of discipline.
pissing away a lead like that, finding out you're trying to be, you have your Venmos blowing up, and you selling stuff at the halftime. I think I'm pretty confident this has been a very tough week of practice for the Colorado Buffaloes.
This has been.
Yeah.
And this actually leads into my beast mode, which was that Stanford team in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it like the first half they played like
It played like Stanford.
all it was missed passes, incomplete passes, terrible passes, sacks, the whole 9 yards against a very incompetent defense in Colorado in the first place. And then all of a sudden these guys come out playing like stars. Something happened in that locker room. I don't know what that coach did, but it was like that Speedster and Friday Night Lights, you know, like it was just something happened, man. Anyone else got a beast mode? I know.
You got a
Cheeks.
sarcastic one.
You skipped the told you so.
I'm getting there.
Penn State versus UMass.
Told you so.
No, beast mode.
Oh, beast mode. Yeah.
It's sarcastic.
Yeah, because how could you not expect that against UMass, right?
UMass is like a bottom dweller. They're always like 129, 130, 130, 132.
They're 125 right now.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're actually exceeding expectations, my friend.
My beast
So-
mode, believe it or not, is Knicks and Penix. They went punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch, and it came down to a missed field goal at the end of the game. That is one of the best college football games that I have watched in a really, really long time.
And I wish I got to watch that game, but I was at the Florida game at the time.
I mean, it was, again, as a habit, I don't follow Pac-12 very much, but that game, I was at home, and one of my cousins is from Oregon. Her husband is a Ducks fan. She's a Ducks fan. So, shout out to Pam who listens to the show. And he's like, you got to turn this game on. So I'm like, okay. I want to watch Alabama and Arkansas, and next thing you know, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a game.
A shootout like you wouldn't believe, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a fun game. There's a chance, in my opinion, it's not going to happen, but there's a chance those two play again for the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
And hey, if it happens, I won't be upset, but it's not going
Wait,
to happen.
don't you not like the Pac-12?
I don't dislike them.
Okay, all right.
I thought you were a huge fan of Oregon State.
That's why I said it won't happen.
Number one Oregon State fan at this table.
I'm not a fan. I just think they're exceeding expectations.
All right.
Again, how can you not like a
Pac-12
team named
exceeds-
Beavers, man?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move to Told You So,
Yeah.
and we're going to let Chopper take it away with the first Told You So, because you always have a good Told You So, because you're always going with the craziest stuff. I don't know what it is.
No, but I've been actually wrong with my told you so with Bo Nix in Oregon, right? So that was mine last week. So wrong there.
All right, so Told You Not So.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a good told you so this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so my Told You So is going to be this. Graham Mertz at Florida. He's the right guy for the job. He's performing. I'm starting to see it now. He has 1,900 yards passing, 12 touchdown passes. Confident in the pocket. When he gets rushed, he can move out of that pocket comfortably and still make a pass without getting flat, getting messed up. I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. Did not do good at Wisconsin. Told you so. Hopefully, I get to keep on saying "told you so" as the season progresses, because the next 5 games are tough. for Florida.
He was in Flappable
Told you
on
so.
Saturday.
Again, I'm not trying to kick a dead dog here, but told you so. Caleb Williams not that good. He's a good quarterback. He shouldn't have won the Heisman last year.
Kicked me sign on my back today.
Look,
Yeah.
it's like this. There was things that came out this week that said he would have been drafted over Joe Burrow if he would have been in that draft. That he would have been drafted over Sunshine from Clemson if he'd have been in that draft. Guys, what you saw was when he has to play against stellar defense, which by and large, the Pac-12 doesn't play the level of defense they play in the South. They're more of an offensive-minded conference. That he's not going to know what to do with that. And if he thought that defense he saw at Notre Dame Saturday is a good defense, they're an above-average defense of what he could potentially see. And if you want to start putting him over Burrow and Sunshine, man, what's Philly's defense going to do to him? I mean, it's going to get ugly. So I know it's one game. And, everybody's entitled to a bad game.
Right, Notre Dame lost 2 games prior to that.
Yeah, so, very motivated in. So,
Yes.
again, try not to kick it dead, but that was my told you so that he's not the bill of goods they're selling him as. Is he bad? No, he's not bad, but he's not on the mountain they're trying to put him on. To me, they're setting him up to fail.
He's got 1 Heisman. He's
He won
happy.
the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, he's got 1 Heisman in
But
his back pocket.
again, to me, that was an oversell last year, too.
No, he played really good last year.
He did.
He doesn't have the pass protection that he had this year, I imagine, is what it is. One guy went to the NFL that maybe was like someone that protected him well last year. I don't know. Maybe he has an extra split second to throw the ball. Who knows? But does anyone else have a good told you so? All right, Chief, hit it.
Notre Dame against USC, I told you so, and Washington versus Oregon, I told you so. Last week, I told you so.
All right. You did say Washington was going to win that game, didn't you?
And by 1 score.
Is there a game that was a barroom brawl last week besides the Colorado-Stanford game in the second half where Stanford just whooped the crap out of Colorado in that barroom brawl? The Florida game was a barroom brawl too. Like it went back and forth. Florida puts up 7 points the first drive of the game. Carolina puts up 7 points their first drive of the game. And then it was just back and forth the rest of the game until Carolina goes up 10 points, but then Florida somehow manages to come back.
How many turnovers were there in that game?
There was, I have no idea. How many?
One
There was
at
one
the
turnover?
very end when
that
Spencer
interception,
threw.
yeah.
Yep, that was it.
That saved the game. Spencer Rattler throwing that interception at
That's
the
right.
end.
I think a decent little brawl that I think was a game that was closer. If you want to say it was a good physical game, was Alabama-Arkansas. I mean, that was kind of old school SEC smash mouth football.
That's all Alabama's doing right now because they have that defense that's strong and they have a good running game.
Nick Saban, possibly the greatest college coach to ever play. Get back to the basics. Quit trying to be cute. Run the ball. Play good defense. And most things will fall in line. Or it will keep you in a game long enough to have a chance to win it at the end. So, again, that was just a good back and forth. I'm going to punch you in the mouth and let the best man win. And it was fun. It was the antithesis of Oregon, Washington. I mean, it really was.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Chiefs got a good barroom brawl, but it seems like a very one-sided barroom brawl.
Well,
in my
that's
opinion.
it. There was a little sarcasm also. Syracuse came into this game 4-1.
Oh, jeez.
And everybody was expecting that they put up a good game, and FSU just schooled them. And
Was it like 42-3 or something?
yeah,
it was insane.
Syracuse scored 1 field goal. That was it. Honestly,
You gotta feel bad for those orange men. Those
I
orange
do. But
those
think
orange
about
people.
this:
Where's Rooster?
Yeah, I know.
2 years in a row, they start 4-0, and last year they actually got to 6-0. Before they fell apart.
Fell apart. I'll give them a pass last year. They had some injuries last year that really influenced what happened. They took. I think
Yeah, that
Notre
running
Dame.
back they had.
Yeah, it was Notre Dame they took to the brink and almost beat them up in Cuse, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But again, injuries caught up with them last year. I think this year their front load of their schedule was not the better part of their competition, and now they're getting into it.
Let's get to some questions from the web, shall we?
Let's do it.
We shall.
All right. So, an unbeaten Air Force has broken the top 25 this week. If they end up the season as the only, let's say it's the only undefeated team, Georgia, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Washington, all those teams lose one game, and Air Force is the only unbeaten team. And it's likely that's going to happen because they do not have a tough schedule for the next 5 games. It's actually a very easy schedule for the next 5 games. These are all games they're expected to win, and they have a really good running game. With that said, Do they enter the top 4 at the end of the season?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
absolutely not.
Absolutely.
129 strength of schedule.
Yes. Absolutely.
West.
Absolutely, they
No,
do.
absolutely not.
Yes.
They end up playing in the Cotton Bowl as the highest group of 5 because
No.
of attrition. They'll get into the top 15, and they'll end up playing one of the Big 12 teams.
With
down
everything going on in our world today, Air Force gets the number 4 seed in that scenario.
No
For political
Oh,
reasons?
they do.
For
They do.
pure political reasons.
Yes.
That would be insane.
Yes. Air Force gets in.
So
Somebody check
Go Air
Chopper
Force.
for a fever.
Go Air Force. That's why I told you so.
So the only group of 5 that's gotten to the Final Four thus far is Cincinnati.
And they played 3 teams that were
Well,
ranked.
you got to look at it. They had 3 very high-level seasons, 1 loss, no losses. They played 3 very good competitive games, and with the help of the other conference with some games and teams losing, but they were preseason ranked, I think, in the top 15 and kind of maintained, just slid up. Air Force, they've proven you can't to be a group of 5 team, to be outside the top 25 to make that way up. You have to have so much help. It's a mountain you
Are
can't
you
climb.
going to leave? I mean, they're not going to leave the Air Force out of that game. They can fly over that game and
that's about as close as they'll get to it.
But they have
drop some stuff on that
Listen,
game. They're
they
going to
have
let
not
them
played
in.
a ranked opponent yet, and they're
No,
not playing a
and
ranked
they're not going
opponent.
to.
That's
Yeah.
Like I
why.
said,
It's
they
just-
end up in the top 15. They end up in the Cotton Bowl playing
Ole Miss.
No, because it would
Cotton
be a Big
Bowl.
12 team. Probably be one of Texas Tech.
Baylor.
Baylor's not very good.
Baylor's about to lose.
Texas, because if
Okay.
they're not in the top 4, you can put Texas or Oklahoma, whoever, and it looks like Oklahoma will be in that contention. So that's where that game ends
I like
up.
him as a number 4.
All right, I like them. It ain't gonna happen.
If they break the top 4, I will buy you a beer.
I love that.
Better
Okay.
buy him a case of beer.
So,
Let's not add zeros onto that.
did Bo Nix's Heisman stock go down after that loss to Washington last week?
No, not at all.
Chopper,
Yes.
you are the biggest fan of Bo Nix. Let's
Yeah, I
hear
love some Bo Nix. Yeah, so
it. He's on Bo Nix.
I still think he's
Bo
got a
Nix.
shot. He lost. They played a good game. I still think he's in the running. So, yeah, did it go down a hair? But can he get right back in it? Absolutely, he can jump back in.
Still deadly accurate. Still has a lot of
Absolutely.
yards for the year so far.
Absolutely.
His completion rate is head and tails above everybody.
Remember,
else.
guys, the Heisman Trophy is a dog and pony show. As much as it is, are you the best player in football?
That's
Because
right.
many years,
Yeah.
the best player in football does not win it like last year. So therefore, what's going to happen with the loss is, like, if you look at Vegas odds to win it, I think he went from plus 400 to plus 1,200 after that game, which means they say now he's more of a long shot to win it. Main reason being is he don't have the style points. Now, if they run the table and were to play Washington again and he wins that game, then potentially he comes back in, but he'll take some help. It'll take a lot of help from other players having bad games for him to get back in the mix. Again, because style points matter. They shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. But the days of Barry Sanders playing for Oklahoma State when they were an above-average team and winning the Heisman Trophy, that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
He
the
only
player
has
on the
one
best team.
interception.
No, he's a phenomenal quarterback,
Yeah.
and in the game last week was lost by a field goal. Like it's not that bad of a loss.
The
per se.
spirit of that award has been lost. It's supposed to be the best individual performance in college football, and the people who vote on this start tying outcomes to their performances, and you just should not do that.
That's right.
I'm thinking that Michael Penix. I won't say it the way that it was said on College Game Day, but Michael Penix Jr.
Well, to give you some example, after that
is
game,
definitely getting the style points.
so to give you an example, the Heisman odds after that, he is now minus 140. That's how much of a favorite he is to win the Heisman now. To where if you were to bet $100, you would win 60 if he wins the Heisman right now. That's just how much that game elevated him above and beyond everybody else. So again,
Wow.
the boys in the desert know how the game is played, and so there you go.
Yeah, he's so good as long as he keeps up those numbers.
Well, again, it's a visual thing. He's such a good story. He's come off 2 major injuries. He transfers. He's in there, and now he's out there doing what he's doing, which is against all odds. And so it's something they can sell. The media can sell it, and so therefore it's a good story if he takes home the Heisman Trophy. So at the end of the day, yeah, he is the front runner because he's got the goods. but he's got the backstory of they can really sell.
If Bo Nix has a great rest of the season, I mean great, and he meets up with Washington in the Pac-12 championship and has a super solid game, and I don't mean winning by 3, I mean
Blows them out.
all of a sudden he shoots up.
The only thing I don't know that could influence that, and this is a question we could research, does Heisman voting occur before championship games? Because I know it occurs. I know it occurs before bowl games. So I don't know if it occurs before championship games. If that does, that hurts him even more.
All right, so Dave.
It normally is a week before, I think.
Yeah. Dave.
Rebel.
Sorry, I just let your anonymity go. My bad. We have left some people hanging for the last few weeks, man. It may have eaten up into their pocketbooks as well. Knowing that the legendary picks have not been picked in the last 2 weeks, people are losing money at this point. So we have to do the legendary picks this week. So here they are, y'all. Landon the Legend picking for you the top 6 games of the week. Let's go ahead and hear them now.
Ohio State, Alabama, MSU, Auburn, Duke, USC.
So those are your legendary picks. This kid is the biggest Tennessee fan in the world, or at least his parents are. And he chose. I think he's an Alabama fan now.
I think they've got a neighbor that's infiltrating the house when they're not knowing.
Do you know something I don't know, or is their babysitter for Crimson Tide, or what?
I don't know, but there's a rumor that this kid plays football with himself in the house and screams touchdown Alabama way more than he should.
That's a sad state of affairs in that house. You gotta make Landon the Legend is gonna have to start feeding himself.
Hey, no, what I think is he's coming into his own as being a bookie where you don't bet based on affiliations, but how you know the game's going to shake.
Oh, smart. See, now we know that the legendary picks are the true picks, y'all.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and talk about these games, shall we? All right, game of the week. We're going to start with a couple games that I think might end up being a top 25 team going down to an unranked team. And we're going to start with my boy Chopper's team. Number 13, Ole Miss, is going to Auburn, Alabama, in order to maybe possibly have an upset. Chopper, the War Eagles will be flying high. Will there be TP in the trees of Toomer's Corner at the end of that game?
Absolutely there will be. Now, Ole Miss has won one game in the past 20 years in our stadium. Do you know that?
One game.
One game.
But this year is
different.
different.
20 years.
This year is different. They are
in the past 20 years.
So you think that this is going to be a hard person to play?
They won't pull this out. With this being Hugh Freeze's former team, and you got that element in there. You got Lane Kiffin coming into our stadium. You've got the crowd element. It's Auburn. You got us being down, right? So we had a disappointing performance against LSU. Rebound this week.
A really disappointing performance.
Be quiet.
It was hard.
Why?
I felt bad for you last week.
Why?
So they bounced back.
Yeah, they rebound this week. Yeah,
they beat.
Absolutely. Ole Miss has beaten us one time in 20 years. One time in 20 years.
All right.
2 times in 21 years. Then.
Rebel, what are your thoughts on this?
I understand going into Auburn is a tough place to play. I don't care whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I've seen them beat a much better Alabama team on one night off, pull it together, have the emotion of the game. But Auburn has just, they started off slow. I just have not seen a progression out of them to make them think that they're getting better week by week, unfortunately. I just think Lane Kiffin very quietly is going to sniff around down there and get into a good bowl game, and they may lose 2 games, 3 games this year very quietly. So the bookies have Ole Miss as a 7-point favorite. I figure that game's about 7 to 10 points. Auburn to keep it close, but I don't think they win it.
Yeah, Dart's pretty strong. He had no turnovers this last week, and he's hardly any turnovers. Thorne, not so strong. I'm going to go a little under what the bookies say. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, and Ole Miss is going to win.
Cheeks, do you think that Auburn is going to be able to upset Ole Miss?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So my thing is this, and Chopper can tell me this as a true Auburn fan.
Right.
Unlike many years with Auburn, they don't seem to have an identity yet. They don't really have a feel for what they're trying to do yet.
You're right.
Again, they look like a different team every
Well, they
week.
have a brand new coach.
And it's going to say that's a progression. They're settling into what they have, and I think that's going to play against them this year, all year long. Give them next year, give them the following year. I think he's going to be able to rebuild Auburn back to the power that they are used to being. But this year, they're just we're
gonna have some emotional wins, I think, this year.
Couple.
Where we put things together in like a night game against this former team. I really think it's going to go Auburn's way.
Couple more years, a few more prostitutes, and they start putting it together. Or
burner phones, get the burner phones passed.
And then,
You guys are terrible.
Wow, he gets really cocky after he wins on Saturday.
So I'm going to say that Auburn can pull this off because of what Chopper says. Like, it is a home environment. This is a team that will be able to perform in that type of environment. And that's my
statistics speak for themselves, right?
If Auburn
one time
loses,
in 20 years,
does Cam Newton come in as the new head coach?
No.
No, he's there his first year.
Yeah, okay. South Carolina versus number 20 Mizzou is my most unlikely upset.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
It's not going to be enough.
It ain't happening. I can tell you, South Carolina, every time they've ever gone to Columbia, Missouri, plays some of the worst football they've ever played. The one exception was Connor Shaw coming off the bench, second half. That had been, 10 years ago now, 12 years ago now?
Yeah.
Pulled them out of a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Outside of that, South Carolina has never gone to that hole of Columbia, Missouri, and played well.
And Mizzou's looking good.
And Mizzou's respectable
great
this year,
Very respectable.
even with Captain Dink and Dunk at the helm. So, I mean, no, I just don't.
No.
South Carolina become more of a question mark as the season goes on. Unfortunately, it's like somebody finds a new hole that you're having to plug, but they're always having to try to plug a hole. And I just don't see them going down there and getting it done.
Missouri's very successful this year. I mean,
Their quarterback
great game
Cook
against
is phenomenal.
Kentucky last year.
At Kentucky.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Very solid
Yeah.
performance.
So, but Spencer Rattler has shown. This is what he's shown since he came there last year. That this fact that they're 2-4 right now, it does not get under his skin. He still goes out to play and win, and I think that he rallies the troops around him as well. This is not a home game. That's the difference.
The problem, Spencer Rattler doesn't play linebacker. He doesn't play DB. He doesn't play safety.
plays
The problem is, look,
It's
if
a
you
team
want to look
effort.
at what he's got to work with on both sides of the ball, he's having an unbelievable season. Again, the whole Heisman Trophy can't look. He would be in that conversation statistically based off of what he's been able to do with how little he has.
He's got great
But it
statistics.
doesn't matter. He can score, and they're going to score twice. They just defensively, they are struggling mightily right now to where I don't think it matters what they do on the offensive side of the ball. The offense is going to score some points. It's just going to be a matter, can they stop anybody?
Okay, so a team that is near and dear to the Cheeks' heart, and that is number 18 USC is playing at number 14 Utah, and I feel sorry.
Other way around.
Number 18 USC is playing. Sorry,
you
they're
got it
playing at
backwards.
home. That's right. Okay, sorry.
It's
I did
in
get
LA.
that wrong.
It's in
number
LA.
14 Utah is playing at number 18 USC. My bad. I feel sorry for Utah right now only because USC is coming off that loss.
Oh, they're going to
They're
take it out.
they're gonna be well prepared and ready to go. I think a lot of fire under their butt because they were the expected winner of the Pac-12. Now they're not. Now there's a lot of challenges that they have to live up to, and one of those is going to be Utah. They have to beat Utah,
And they will.
but Utah's thinking the same thing as well. And this is a team that has a solid defense, solid offense. Two teams that have solid offenses. One team has a solid defense. We know what we know. We already know about USC's defense. It is porous as can be. What's going to happen in that game, Cheeks? And this is coming from a realistic view, not your heart and your hopes.
Right.
But you can go with your hearts and your hopes if you want to.
USC will win, but it won't be a blowout.
It'll be a tough game.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game.
I agree with it. I mean, again, we're going to find out, can Caleb Williams back? This is 2 weeks in a row. He's playing a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
We saw it, a defense rattle him last year. Now, look, the kid's an athlete. he's got something to prove again. I think he's more dangerous when he feels like he's got something to prove than when he feels like everybody's bowing down to him. So I think USC wins this game, but it'll be a tight game. Here's what I think USC takes the lead and keeps it, but Utah gets it within 3. They keep it within 7. They keep it within 3. That's the way I think this game goes, and I think they pull it out.
I agree with y'all on the outcome. I think Trojans are going to win by a score. I just thought this was interesting. Utes are number 9 in the nation for defense. Trojans are number 8 in the nation in passing yards, and Trojans like to pass the ball.
Yeah.
So
It'll
be a really good game.
Barroom brawl.
You think it's
that'd be awesome.
I tend to think differently. I think that Utah wins this game on offense and defense by a much larger score than what we think. Probably 14 points. Because Utah has a lot to play for. They have just as much to play for as USC. USC's coming on this loss. That might help it a little bit. I think Utah wins this game.
If they were playing in Salt Lake, I would think that, but they're playing in LA. That will make a difference at that point, to where I think that will push them over the top.
In Alabama, there's a team that's going down there called the number 7 Tennessee Volunteers. Number 17 Tennessee Volunteers are playing at number 11 Alabama. We have a listener named Will Ferrell who I was talking to. Will Ferrell, not the famous Will Ferrell.
He is now that you mentioned
He's
it.
famous now.
Yeah.
We have a listener named Will Ferrell. He said that he has so much confidence that Tennessee's going to win this game, and he's a Georgia fan. He has so much confidence that Tennessee's going to win this game that if Alabama wins the game, he's going to buy us a round of drinks.
What?
Wow.
So wait, I'm in an all-win situation. I'm talking to fight. I'm good with it.
Yeah. So I'm not as confident as Will Ferrell is in Tennessee, and when I hear the legend pick Alabama, I'm all in on the Alabama, baby. I'm taking this one to the bank.
Yeah.
All right.
Alabama's looking for revenge after last year. It's in Alabama.
They don't lose at home.
Look, the reason Tennessee did what they did last year was because of 2 people, Hendon Hooker and Jalen White. And neither
100%.
one of them are there this year. Look, y'all have heard me say, Milton is a freak athlete. He throws the ball further than any human that can do it, but he overthrows everybody by 20 yards.
He throws it too far every time.
Okay, so the thing is this. They've proven that he overthrows receivers, he can make some bad decisions in key places, and he gets happy feet when he's under pressure. Hooker was as cool as a cucumber. He would stand there like a statue, take the hit, and complete the pass. And so, therefore, between Alabama being in Tuscaloosa, Alabama having something to prove because they got embarrassed in Knoxville last year, and the fact that I just don't think Tennessee from a skill position is in the same place they were last year, Alabama wins the game.
And Milton was held to 16 points when they played Florida. So, and Milrose had 4 games in a row of 20 points or more.
And you got to think, Tennessee going to Florida, they could not handle that environment. They were flustered the whole game, looking like crap. Tennessee going to Alabama is going to be a whole different beast, too. Even more so than the Swamp.
I mean, Tennessee right now, honestly, with what they put on the field this year, in my opinion, are their own worst enemies because of what they did last year. I mean, that's not this team's fault. But, again, just the emotion coming. Look, I can tell you right now, Alabama wants this game as much as they want to beat Auburn at the end of the year. 100% based off of what happened last year.
Yep.
Okay, so we all agree then that Will Ferrell's going to be buying us a round of drinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good.
Will.
So I'll go ahead and tell him to Venmo us now.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, but and we will thank you next week, Will. I promise. All right, so the second to last game we're going to be talking about is going to be number 16 Duke at number 4 FSU. Duke has had one hell of a run this season, man.
It is.
If they are playing in Durham, I would say it's a different story, right? Where they might be able to beat FSU at home, but then again, that stadium's not that hype. There's 40,000 people in that stadium at best? 30,000?
28 in Duke? 28,000.
28,000, yeah.
That's the whole 30.
Run over when they run into the brick.
Now,
Stadium.
Duke statistically has a pretty good defense. They've only allowed 58 points scored in 6 games.
They haven't played a team like Florida
But they
State.
haven't played a team like Florida State.
And don't if somebody tries to tell me Clemson, I will smack them. Don't even try that with me. The thing is this. One, is that Florida State is playing at home, and they're a Final Four team. They have shown that one game that they probably should have lost to Boston College was a little bit of a fluke, and therefore they're going to roll them up. Add to the fact that Duke's quarterback is a little bit beat up, a little bit banged up, a little bit injured. I think Florida State beats them by 20,
I think
30 points.
I think the fact that Duke is pretty good this year actually kind of hurts them going into a game against Florida State, because they're not going to be able to sneak up against them. I mean, Florida State prepares for them solidly and drums them.
No, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So you have usually someone might be looking ahead of Duke. They might be saying,
sneak up on you.
We're coming up on a
Duke is not sneaking up on anybody.
Duke reminds me of that team that has been irrelevant for years. They finally put it together. They have a fantastic team. And look, we're talking basketball. I hope they never win a game for the rest of their lives. But we're talking football.
I agree.
I don't mind them being successful as long as they don't beat the Tar Heels, right? Yeah. So this is their season to be relevant again, where they lose to Florida State, they lose to North Carolina, they lose to another big team. They pull off Clemson, which kudos to them, to where they end this season 8-4, 9-3, and feel really, really good about it, and hope that helps to build some recruiting.
Maybe they play here for
because
us.
Look, there's money that goes. God bless America.
I'm just kidding.
So because there's money that goes through that school, if they can pull those alumni around the football team the way it is around the basketball team, they could build something down there. But it ain't happening this week. Florida State's got, look, man, they've got their eye on the prize.
Fun fact: the Duke section at Doak Campbell this weekend could fit the entire Duke student body.
That's probably true, yeah. That's probably true. Since there's probably
a nice fun
3,000
fact.
or 4,000 students.
Nice fun fact.
Might be
6,000.
Yeah.
Nice fun fact, right?
Okay, so
Get to the one you want to talk about.
Yeah.
we do have the number 1 defense in the country going to play this weekend. And that's going to be number 7 Penn State, who is going to the Horseshoe. Playing number 3 Ohio State. Biggest game of the week. Ryan Day versus James Franklin. James Franklin, by the way, signed a contract last year for $7 million a year. Pretty good little number, even because he's been putting together a pretty
You said with
solid
an
team.
M. That sounded like you said with a B. You said
$7
$7 million.
million. Yeah.
$million.
I'll take $7 million just one time. I'm fine with that. That'll buy us a lot of rounds of beer. If you want to Venmo us $7 million, we'll be paying a whole lot of taxes on that. But so Penn State is all around a solid team this season, offensively and defensively more so than offensively. They're like number 36 offense in the country, not exactly the greatest, but then again, they've been putting up some points. They've been stopping offenses. They've only allowed like 30-something points total scored against them.
Neither team has let anybody score over 20 points against them. Neither team.
Wow. Okay. So Ohio State does have the number 6 defense in the country right now, total. Ohio State is in the top 10 for offense, whereas Penn State's somewhere in the top. Ohio State is around like the 22nd offense in the country. Forgive me.
I think this game is extremely close, and I think I go with the home team every time. An extremely close game. If this game was Happy Valley, Penn State, Ohio State, I'm going Ohio State.
I think I'm the only one who picked the other team.
I picked Penn State.
I did too.
I think look for Kyle McCord throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. If he is successful in the first half, and it's going to stay that way. On the other side of the ball, though, Drew Aller is going to be handing off to Singleton and Allen, but he really could use a good wide receiver. That, I think, is one weakness Penn State has.
And you're looking at a team that has a great running game, so Ohio State has to figure out how to contain that running game, while Penn State has to figure out how to control those receivers and really focus in on that. I think that Penn State has the defense to do that. They have great corners over there. It's going to be a game where Penn State pulls away at some point.
Look, so I have Penn State in my Final Four. I've said all along, this is the grudge match, 2-point win. Hell, it may go to overtime type game that gets them over the hump, because where they then have the advantage, if they get Michigan in Happy Valley, I think about 2-3 games later. And so therefore, my thing is this. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a game changer. He's a top 3-4 draft pick coming out next year. I mean, he's a freak. Okay, Penn State is going to do is, look, when Marvin Harrison is making a difference is when he's stretching the field because he's so fast. He's just dumb fast. Penn State's going to get after that quarterback to where he's not going to be able to stand back there 5-7 drops and throw it 40, 50 yards down the field. So at the end of the day, in a grudge match, a very good, hard-fought game, Penn State pulls this out by a point, 2 points, maybe even a field goal. Vegas has Ohio State as a 4-point favorite. That 3 points is always going to go to the home team, so Vegas really feels this thing's going to be a 1-point game either way. And I think Penn State gets it done. They've had close seasons for a lot of seasons. James Franklin has had really good teams and just never gotten them over the hump. I think he gets them over the hump to where then we look at a Penn State-Michigan matchup in Happy Valley deciding who wins that conference.
Who goes to the conference championship.
Because on the other side of that bracket is dog crap. So whoever wins these 2-3 games through here is what gets it done. And this game, I will allude to in our later conversation.
What the fuck, Rebel? What the fuck? I'll let
It's a fun one.
I'll let Cheeks do the what the fuck first. Give it to me, Cheeks.
It was just released today during the press conference that Coach Beamer broke a bone in his foot. And you know why and
Kicking
how?
his team in the ass. Every one of them.
That's what he wanted to do, and said he kicked something else. And because of all the adrenaline and everything going through his body, it wasn't until like the next day we went, oh, I might have an owie.
Wow. So what did he kick?
They never said, so okay. I'd like to know.
He kicked his own ass.
Chief, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
All right. All I can think of is why was Penn State allowed to play UMass? Surely they could have found a high school team locally that would have put up just as good of a fight.
And they could have just wore the jerseys. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
You want to tell you why? Because they wanted that game before this game.
Chopper, what the fuck, bro?
What the fuck, Stanford? Why did you let Colorado score 29 points on you in the first half?
Really?
What the fuck, Stanford? All right. What the fuck, Rebel?
My what the fuck, and I had someone converse with me about this with what it should be, and I agree with the statement. Is RCF for the Braves. Look, you play 2 really bad games. Look, you're the best team in baseball, but you had 6 days off. You're rusty. You don't win a game that you could have very easily lost and start chirping. So you know what? When Harper rounded second base and looked at him and stared him down, I loved it. He deserved every freaking thing he got in that game. Keep your mouth shut, play the game, and then once you win the series, then chirp all you want.
Right.
What the fuck? You know what my what the fuck is?
Go Phillies.
You know what my what the fuck is? What the fuck is up with our Facebook group, man? We're getting like 40 new members a week right now. Something like that.
Well, I know part of mine was I sent out that thing, and I have some family members I spoke to this past weekend that just love it. And they were like, I sent it out to like 500 people, and I'm like, all right, I love it.
You know what I say, though? What the fuck? Why aren't y'all
all
listening to the show?
doing that? Hey, why aren't everybody who's listening to the show doing that?
Why isn't everybody that's on the Facebook group listening to the show? What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's it. So if you're listening to the show, tell your friends to listen to the show as well. That's right. Post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And what's
All
your
right.
what the fuck? She didn't give hers.
Oh.
She did our work.
No, mine was the Coach Beamer.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
right.
You're
Okay,
right.
last call. You heard it from Candy herself. And any coaches that are on the hot seat right now, I don't think.
Well, we're hold on. We're talking Power 5 football, right?
Power 5 football
Okay.
conference coaches on the hot seat.
I have college and NFL.
Give it. No, I only want college because we gotta be
Dino
fast.
from Syracuse.
Dino Babers?
Yeah.
How about
Really?
How about
Yeah.
how
They
about
are way
more hot
exceeding-
seat than Dino? Because I consider him. How about Brent Pry at Virginia Tech?
Well,
They won last week.
my feeling about those two teams is the fans don't have that high of expectations for either of those teams.
Virginia Tech used to have a history. They played for a national championship
That's-
once upon a time.
Virginia
Okay.
Tech
And,
until
I mean, Michael Vick should have won a
Yeah.
national championship. Florida State kind of hosed them a bit and won it all. So
What is Mississippi State do
Also-
going forward?
Yeah, so their coach is on the hot seat because they need to pick a coach.
Do they do that? Do they move on from Mike Leach and his assistant coaches? Do they do that?
I think that
Break
they
their-
have to.
Yeah?
Because it's not a premier program in college football, but it is in the SEC, which is a premier college program.
Correct.
So,
it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
do they bring back their previous coach that went to Florida? That was
They love Dan Mullen down there.
yeah, exactly. Do they bring back Dan Mullen?
No.
to Mississippi
No,
State.
absolutely not. Absolutely.
Why
not.
wouldn't they? Dan
You know, in this world, yeah, they may. In this world, they
Dan
actually
Mullen's
may.
announcing on SEC Network.
Louisville brought back what was Motorcycle Boy? Petrino. I mean,
He's at A&M.
Yeah, they may. So,
Exactly. I think that. So, who's on the hot seat? The coach for Mississippi State. I finally found one too. Thank you.
What about Jimbo?
Jimbo
I don't
Fisher's
think
now.
so.
Pay out still way too much.
I don't think
After
so.
next
Still
year,
$70 million buyout on top of it, and he's 4-3. Not yet.
they basically said, no, what I heard with that was if they can actually find enough oil money that is just willing to buy him out, they'll do it. But it will not come from the university. It will come from private donors that want him gone.
If you're somebody like Mississippi State, you wait an extra year to try to get Jimbo.
No.
No.
How about
No.
Tom Allen in Indiana?
Again,
know
Indiana
about
don't have a football program.
What happens?
They're 8-21
Jimbo would be a
in
huge
3
pickup at
seasons.
Mississippi State.
But what happens?
He's won 2 games.
Indiana doesn't have expectations. Like, they don't fire coaches at schools that don't have expectations. The only reason why Scott Frost got fired at Nebraska is that school, they have memories of the 90s.
If he still stayed
That's it.
in Central Florida, he'd still be there. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
Yes, but places like Florida, they fire coaches. Places like Auburn, they fire coaches.
So if you're going to look from a Power 5 perspective, I think the hottest seat out there is Billy Napier. But if they will give him enough time, I think they will be happy with their decision. But I think there's 2 coaches that the war drums will get a little louder next year based on how this season goes. I'm not saying they get fired, but the conversations will start to get louder. And that's Ryan Day at Ohio State. If he loses to Penn State and then he were to lose to Michigan again, the expectations will override the fact that they are a really good football team. The other one is Yabba Dabbo up at Clemson, man. They took the cocaine for about 5 to 7 years. If he keeps losing games he shouldn't, they should leave the man alone and let him retire because Clemson should be happy with 9-3, but they won't be because, again, the same way when back in '81 when they bought that national championship, I mean, they ran old Danny Ford out 2 years later just because he didn't win another one. So those 2, based off of how this season plays out, are they on the hot seat? No, but the conversations will get a little louder next year if they don't.
Okay, y'all, so this is a great show. We're going to have a great week of college football coming up here soon. So let's go ahead and keep on coming back to listen to some more guys in the bar talking sports.